This is the network service of the NTA. We now join our outside broadcast crew for a live telecast. Please stay tuned.
Good evening, great nation. Please be seated.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Dutse, the Jigawa State Capital. We are live here in Dutse at Banquet Hall in Government House, Dutse, the Jigawa State Capital. The national anthem has already been recited, and dignitaries, His Excellency, the Governor of Jigawa State, and other governors from various states who are here present, taking their seats for the program to commence in earnest. This is the 12th annual Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Lectures and Merit Awards this afternoon. The people are already seated in the hall, and any moment from now, the program will begin. The program will begin. There are lots of things on the list of today's event. Dignitaries from across the country are here, particularly the northern parts of Nigeria. Governors from various states. We can see that of Gombe is here, present, and of course, we've also seen dignitaries like former First Lady of Nigeria, Hajia Ture Yaradua was also present, is also present in this hall, and many other dignitaries from within and outside these states. We see also emirs from across Jigawa, and neighboring states are also here present for this very important event. It is an event that is made to relieve the legacies of Sadona, and of course invoke the spirits of emulation of all those legacies, qualities as left behind for leaders of today to copy and then govern with all the fear of God, compassion, equity, and justice. This is what the program is all about. And the opening prayer is already recited by the Chief Imam of Hadejia there. Listen to the prayer, and then we'll take from there.
وعلمنا منه ما جهلنا وارزقنا تلاوته آناء الليل وأطراف النهار واجعله لنا حجة يا رب العالمين. اللهم آمنا في أوطاننا وأصلح أئمتنا وولاة أمورنا. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Malang Allah sakal darheri. His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima GSON, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented by one of our own, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Shettima Hadejia. The Executive Governor of Jigawa said, His Excellency Dr. Malong Umar Nabadi FCA, the Chief Host, the Executive Governor of Gombe State, His Excellency Alaji Inuaha, CON, Chairman Northern Governors Forum, the Chairman DOT, Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation, His Excellency Chief Servant, Mahadu Babangida Aliyu PhD, ON, CON, Sardanang Hausa, His Excellency the Jigawa State Deputy Governor, Engineer Aminu Usman FNSC, Chairman Organizing Committee, the Executive Governor of Katsina State, will be represented by his deputy, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented by his deputy, the Executive Governor of Zamfara State, ably represented by his deputy, the Executive Governor of Bauchi State, ably represented by his deputy, the Executive Governor of Yobe State, ably represented by his deputy, the first civilian Governor of Jigawa State, His Excellency Barrister Ali Saad Burnunkudu, the Chairman ACF Barrister Bashir Dalhatu, Wazir Dutse, respected Royal Father, the Emir of Dutse, Dr. Mohammed Habib Noor Sunusi, the Chairman Jigawa State House of Assembly, the Speaker Jigawa State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Haruna Ali Nangat, Evianai QS, a former First Lady of the Federation, Hajia Toure El Adwa, members of the Board of Trustees of AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation, distinguished senators and members of the National Assembly, the Secretary of the Jigawa Sargama Malam Bala Ibrahim, distinguished emirs and royal fathers from the northern states, members of the Jigawa State Executive Council, members of the Jigawa State House of Assembly, Head of Extra Ministerial Department, senior special advisors, technical advisors, special advisors, distinguished invited guests, the Taraba State Governor represented by distinguished Senator Speaker Bauchi State House of Assembly, a former Senator, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. Let us first start by welcoming their excellencies to Banquet Hall, Government House, Dutse, the seat of power. For it, another monumental event, the 12th annual AHMADU Bello Memorial Lecture and Merit Award. The good fellow of Jigawa State are proud, happy and contented with choosing Jigawa State to host this monumental event, which will contribute greatly to the development of northern Nigeria and enhance development among northerners. Jigawa State, it might interest you, is the most peaceful and people-friendly state in Nigeria. They said that has set a standard of excellence in several sectors of development under the distinguished leader of His Excellency Malam Umar Namadi FC. Once more, you must cover this monumental event, which will construct development in northern Nigeria in our ramifications. Without taking much of our time, to cover their Excellency's title, Your Excellency, permit me at this point in time to invite the Chairman, Local Organizing Committee, His Excellency Engineer Amin Usman Bagachungumel, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, to convey his welcome address. His Excellency.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kasim Shatima, heavily represented by the Deputy Chief of Staff, His Excellency, the Chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, the Governor of Gombe State, His Excellency Alhaji Muhammad Inwa Yahya, His Excellency the Executive Governor of Jigawa State, Dr. Malam Umar A. Namadi FCA, the Chairman of the AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation, the Chairman of the ACF, His Royal Father, the Emir of Dutse, the Right Honorable Speaker, Jigawa State House of Assembly, High Excellency, the former First Lady of Nigeria, Hajia Ture Adua, members of the Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation, Your Excellency, the Governor of Zamfara State, heavily represented by the Deputy Governor of Zamfara State, the Governor of Kaduna State, heavily represented by the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, Your Excellency, the Governor of Bauchi State, heavily represented by His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Bauchi State, Your Excellency, the Governor of Yobe State, heavily represented by the Deputy Governor of Yobe State, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Katsina State, heavily represented by the Deputy Governor of Katsina State, Their Royal Highnesses, the Right Honorable Speakers of these states that I mentioned, distinguished senators, members of the House of Assembly, members of the House of Representatives, honorable commissioners, special advisors, special assistants, local government chairmen, members of the organized committee of the Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation, members of the local organized committee, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. As the chairman of the local organizing committee and Deputy Governor of Jigawa State, I extend a hearty welcome to the 12th annual Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Lecture and Merit Award, hosted today, January 20th, 2026, here in Dutse by Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation, along the Jigawa State Government. Sir AHMADU Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto, exemplary selfish leadership by patronizing education as a tool for unity and empowerment in northern Nigeria, founding institutions that propel regional development. His one knows one people philosophy foster equity, opportunity, much like the Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation, ongoing scholarship and lectures today. Anchoring the Sardauna commitment to education, Governor Dr. Malam Umar A. Namadi, FCA administration, has deepened basic education reforms. Through Jigawa, Unite equipped 250 schools with digital tools, training 1,480 teachers. The aligning with the Federal Renewal Hope agenda for better learning. This strides Miro AHMADU Bello Foundation efforts, reducing our out-of-school children and boosting enrollment in Jigawa State. We recognize distinguished guests and the merit awardees as we continue partnership for equity basic education, the time delivery of equitable access to quality basic education in northern Nigeria. A time for real action. Underscore our commitment to address long-standing education challenges. With your support, we can create a brighter future of Nigeria. On this note again, I would like to call our attention to the northern part of the country to continue coming out in mass to renew our voters register. Thank you. Together we can make a difference. Thank you and God bless.
We thank you most sincerely, Your Excellency, for the brief welcome address. His Excellency is indeed the chairman
of this monumental event currently going on. Your Excellency, permit me to recognize Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, a senior advocate of Nigeria, chairman ICPC, the executive governor of Niger State, ably represented by SSG. May at this point in time, with permission of their excellencies, invite Hajia Amina, Director, Information and Programs of the Foundation, to anchor the next item on the program. Madam, Bismillah.
How the program is going, and this gathering has brought a lot of dignitaries. All ministers from the 19 states are either here present or their representatives are here. Senators from the 19 northern states, all heads of federal departments and agencies, all speakers from the northern states, House of Assemblies, members of the Sadona Memorial Foundation are here present in the hall. Members of elder statesmen and opinion leaders are also here. Most of the northern emirs are also here, either present or represented. Lots of people have come here, and this program is, like I said earlier, meant to inculcate those qualities that Sadona of Sokoto, the northern premier of blessed memory, has left for people to copy and enhance governance. Governance that is pro people, and governance that see to the growth, peace, unity and development of Nigeria. We'll continue to hear from dignitaries on the podium there what the program is all about, the lessons that will be involved from this program. My name is Muhammad Musa Askira. Thank you for being with us.
Pangshin and the current new Director General NSGF. You are welcome, sir. His Excellency Ambassador Abubakar Husseini Moriki, Sardonon Moriki, you are most welcome, sir. Chief Timothy Anjide Namokoyan Wamba, you are most welcome, sir. It is my distinguished pleasure and honor to ask the Chief Servant, sir, Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu, PhD, OON, sir, to come and give your welcome remarks, sir. You're most welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Okay, sir.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The Vice President Kashim Shettima, that I know will have loved to be here, but on another assignment outside the country, represented by the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President. The Chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, the Governor of Gombe, we thank you very much for beginning to institutionalize the Governors Forum so that there will be continuity and we will have reliable officers that can carry on and implement the decisions of the Northern Governors. Yesterday I was saying that the Premier, who was alone, now has, or we have, 19 premiers of the northern states. And coming together becomes very important for all of us. We thank you for this initiative. Our host, the man who has made it possible for us to gather here today, Malam Umaru A. Namadi, I will not say the other one. We must thank you for hosting and for appreciating. Because it was only your office that I went and I saw the pictures of all our northern leaders from 1960 to date. And I believe that you have imbibed the spirit, the principles, and indeed the concerns of Sir AHMADU Bello. The Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, the Deputy Governor of Katsina, the Deputy Governor of Bauchi, and the Deputy Governor of Yobe, we welcome you. We have all the people that are being awarded here today. The 5 awards that will come later. And I recognize the former First Lady, a humble and indeed dedicated and diligent wife that gave support to our former late president. I had always thought, suppose he had been alive throughout the tenures, what would Nigeria have looked? What would Nigeria have represented? Because he was dedicated, he was honest, and he was straightforward. And indeed, he frightened all the corrupt leaders of Nigeria. But God in his infinite mercy, we cannot pass the days that he has given us. Hajia Ture Radwa, you're welcome. We also have the young lady, Miss Zainab. Miss Zainab, a poet. Where is she, please? Can she stand up to be recognized? Where? Ya ukasata akwana. Zainabu, thank you. Good. Then we have one of the leaders too, who is here represented, and that is Tuwai Danjuma, who has been contributed tremendously to the development of northern states. Indeed, for me, he has been building a university in Niger State, and it started during my time. At the time, I promised anybody who wanted to build a school will be given free land depending on what he was looking for. And I was happy that he took the challenge and he's building and indeed growing a university in our place. I also have our jurist, also have our jurist who has done tremendously well in the Court of Appeal. And she is also here with us to be honored. I have just been reminded that the Deputy Governor of Zamfara State, and I mustn't forget him, because we met just recently in Abuja, and the Deputy Governor of Yobe had always participated in the AHMADU Bello annual lectures, and I'm happy that he's here. The representative of the Governor of Niger State, my diligent secretary to the government of Niger State, and now the Pro-Chancellor of Abdul Qadir Kure University is representing the Governor of Niger State, who is going to receive the flag for the 2027 annual lecture series. Professor Mohammed Kuteyahaya. Is he here? Yeah, thank you. We also have our emirs, our traditional institutions. I have always said that anybody who does not accord you the type of respect that you deserve will be a disaster in the position of leadership. Why? Because you control, you have the intelligence that even the official officers and offices will not gather. You are the only one, or the traditional institution, that has everywhere a representation, from the hamlet to the villages to the district heads, and indeed to the title holders. I saw a former minister many times over and the chairman of Arewa Consultative Forum, and indeed a renowned lawyer. He had to go and bend down to greet his emir. That is the kind of respect, and the government must listen to you and must pay attention to what you're doing, because you are the nearest institution to the grassroots. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and members of the National Assembly and the State Assembly here present, and all of you who are here and those who are watching us or hearing us outside, I welcome you to this important occasion. And I must say that for me, I extend our deepest and most sincere gratitude and appreciation to the government and good people of Jigawa State for not only hosting this occasion, but also for paying attention to what Sardauna relied on, and that has been mentioned here: education. Education, as we know, and particularly the girl-child education. Our speaker today represents the girl-child education. I have said always that the girl child is the best insurance. All those who are looking for pension and the pension is too small, when you educate the girl child, you really have a pension. Because it is only the girl child that, even if it means stealing from the kitchen of her husband to ensure that her parents are fed, she will do that. But many of us, the men, you graduate, you marry, you start having family, in ba ka koshi sosai ba, da wuya iyaye ke ganin ka sosai. So please, we must pay attention. The time have passed of those who are looking at the girl child education or having a girl child as a burden. No, she is an asset, and we must continue to train them properly. We are truly touched by the concern and indeed the welfare and security of your people. Malam Umaru Namadi. We have gone around the town, we have noticed, we have been told that people are very happy with your leadership. And we're very happy too. So we thank you for what you have been doing, not only for Jigawa, because if every state will emulate and copy what you're doing, then we will have a united northern state, which is a subset of Nigeria and will help the development of Nigeria. We also, the new world, and that is why we picked this lady to speak to us today. Jigawa, you have done beautifully well. You have produced 2 female ministers of education. And Professor Rukaya is probably the best of the ministers of education that we have had. Yesterday we were somewhere when somebody stood up to thank her for taking Federal University to his state. We still thank you. We know that you have retired from the formal teaching, but you cannot give up. We will continue to use you. We will continue to ask you to help us develop not only education, but northern Nigeria as a whole. Our annual memorial lecture on leadership and good governance, alongside the leadership and good governance awards, serve as a vital platform to reflect on pressing socio-economic challenges, honor exemplary leadership that we have seen, and we are happy that we are producing more set-downers or more Sir AHMADU Bello within our communities. And it is important that we continue to produce role models for our children. We must identify in the lowest community those who are doing better and raise them so that people can see what it means to be good, what it means to serve people, and what it means to be honest in whatever position of leadership that you may find yourself. But we need to identify such people and bring them forward so that people can understand and appreciate. And again, Malam Maru and your deputy governor, I don't know how the coincidence came, but you seem to share many things in common. The simplicity, the principles, and the diligence to work for the people like Sir AHMADU Bello. We thank you. We specifically identified a member of the board to speak to us today because of what I said earlier she represents. And I believe that she will give us a beautiful paper. Is it not a shame that when they talk of millions of out-of-school children, 80% of that figure, whatever the figure, because sometimes UN will give you one, sometimes the one we say it here, whatever the figure, 80% are from the northern states. Very shameful, because even those who are already in school, we have problems there. I don't know about now, but when I was chairman Northern Governors Forum, I did a study, and at that time, no northern state had up to 50% qualified teachers. I don't know the improvement that has taken place, but I had a figure here that 1,800 teachers have been appointed in Jigawa. So which means maybe if we add up to that, Jigawa might reach 49% or maybe 50%. But we must pay attention. There is no way you build a school and there are no teachers. Many of us who are traveling, sometimes please take time when you see a school, enter and find out what was happening, because there are some schools with more than 500 pupils with 2 teachers, and mostly Islamic studies teachers. Many of our schools, there are no science teachers, no mathematics teachers, and then we are now in the 21st century. Please. And this is not only left to government. This is not only left to governors. This is our responsibilities as individuals and as northerners in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you. You have the speech in your folder. Please go through it and pick whatever you will pick, and we come together again. May Allah make us see the next year's annual lecture so that we can review again what we have done between today and the next lecture in 2027. I hope all of us will be alive, even if we are not there, wherever the venue will be, that we will be alive to know that it is taking place. We are concerned, we are paying attention, we must do what is possible for the development of our communities. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Remark from the chairman of the OET added that the foundation is committed to the introductions of series of programs in education, health, agriculture, wealth creation in order to enhance the development of northern Nigeria. Commending the Chief Host, His Excellency Governor Malam Omar Namadi FCA, for hosting the 2026 event in order to move the northern nation forward, adding that they will continue to emulate survival and the quality leadership and good governance of the first premier of northern Nigeria, AHMADU BELLO Sradaran Sokoto. Your Excellency, before the next item on the program,
we have listened to the former governor of Niger State, Muazu Babangida Aliyu, who extolled the virtues of most northern leaders who have tried to identify with their people and who are always standing by them, ensuring that the northern people are empowered educationally, politically, socially, to ensure that the region is grown to compete favorably to its peers within the country and of course beyond. The whole lecture is about leadership and good governance, and subsequent, continuous lectures on those things that are needed for government and opinion leaders in the society to do the needful
in the history of Nigeria,
make society become
whose vision transcends their lifetime.
Vibrant and
continue to guide generations.
What this particular
One such leader is AHMADU BELLO KBE,
we'll continue
the
to listen
Sardauna of Sokoto,
from this,
premier of the defunct northern region, and a statesman whose life was devoted to unity, discipline and service. AHMADU BELLO believed that leadership was a responsibility anchored in purpose and measured by service to humanity. It is this enduring philosophy that inspired the establishment of the AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation. The most remarkable and distinguishing establishments of AHMADU BELLO was the legacy of exemplary leadership that enabled him to overcome the inherent formidable challenges of mobilizing and harmonizing the complex ethnic, religious and political diversities of the more than 200 ethnic groups inhabiting the vast region, and successfully implementing a focused development plan that gave the northern region an excellent start. Economic empowerment is central to the foundation's mandate. Through its Women Vocational Entrepreneurship Development Program, over 5,000 women and youths across the 19 northern states have been trained in entrepreneurship and skills acquisition, empowered for self-reliance and sustainable livelihoods. The foundation has also prioritized vulnerable groups, particularly women and Almajiri children. In 2022, community leaders and Sangaya school proprietors were trained on integrating the Almajiri education system with Western education. In 2023, soft skills programs strengthened small and medium enterprises in Yobe and Nasarawa states. In 2024, the Arewa Youth Assembly program inspired young people to embrace entrepreneurship as a pathway to dignity and economic independence. That same year, in collaboration with the MacArthur Foundation, Almajiri students were equipped with practical skills in traditional cap making and local embroidery, transforming vulnerability into productivity. Education remains the most powerful tool for transformation. In 2012, the foundation introduced undergraduate science and technology scholarship scheme to support indigenous students from the northern states and the FCT. Beyond scholarships, the foundation has convened educational review summits, trained teachers, conducted landmark research on the state of education in northern Nigeria, supported Almajiri education reform, delivered JAM CBT training for secondary school students, organized national education conferences. Through its monthly online mentorship program, accomplished leaders and professionals continue to guide and inspire young Nigerians. The foundation's commitment to development is deeply rooted in human well-being. Through medical caravans, health education and other essential healthcare services have reached underserved communities. We have been involved in zonal workshops on emergency training of doctors and health workers across northern Nigeria. We have carried out medical outreaches across the length and breadth of the 19 northern states and the FCT. Access to potable, safe drinking water has been provided across 3 northern geopolitical zones. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the foundation distributed over 30,000 face masks and sponsored nationwide awareness campaigns. In September 2024, the foundation donated 20 million naira to support victims of the Maiduguri floods in Borno State, demonstrating compassion and solidarity in times of crisis. Leadership and good governance remain at the heart of the foundation's mission. Every year, the foundation honors the memory of Sir AHMADU Bello, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, and other fallen leaders. Since 2012, the annual Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Lecture has served as a national platform for dialogue on leadership, security, unity and development, bringing together eminent scholars, statesmen, traditional rulers and thought leaders. In 2025, the Foundation for the Deepened Democratic Engagement through a government-citizens dialogue, promoting accountability, transparency and participatory governance. To recognize excellence and selfless service, the Foundation instituted the Sir AHMADU Bello Distinguished Service Awards, honoring Nigerians whose lives exemplify integrity, sacrifice and national service. These awards have been won by some distinguished personalities over the years. Today, the Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation stands as a bridge between heritage and hope, preserving a legacy, empowering generations, advancing leadership and development. In the enduring spirit of Sir AHMADU Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto, the journey continues with integrity, with resolve and with unwavering commitment to the progress of Northern Nigeria and the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Your Excellency, in the first 5 minutes, I've been watching a beautiful, unique and colorful presentation documentary on the achievement of this monumental foundation in agriculture, health, education, economic empowerment and wealth creation, which contributed greatly to the development of Northern Nigeria, with the emulations by others. Your Excellency, permit me at this point in time, before to invite the DG of the foundation, let me acknowledge the arrival of the former governor of Kaduna State, Alaji Lamaranyaru Dalatin Zauza. Sir, you are most welcome. May I invite a first-class engineer, special grade, Engineer Dr. Abubakar Gambo, Umar, a senior fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the Director General CEO of the Sardauna Memorial Foundation, to convey his presentation. Director General, please.
Thank you. Thank you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Your Excellency, the Chairman of the Northern States Governors Forum and the Executive Governor of Gombe State, the Chairman of this great occasion, Your Excellency, the host Governor, Malam Umar Namadi, the Governor of Jigawa State, Excellencies, Royal Fathers, distinguished guests, fathers, may I beg to adopt the existing protocol for want of time. My job here is to introduce the theme of today's lecture and also the guest speaker. And to do that, I want to respectfully invite the guest speaker, the person of Professor Rukayetu Ahmed Rufai, to come forward before I read her citation. As she comes up the podium, I want to say that the theme of this 12th annual Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Lecture is equitable access to quality basic education in northern Nigeria. Sorry about the interruption. A time for real action. The theme resonates deeply with the aspirations of our region and our nation. It is a clarion call for urgent and transformative efforts to bring educational gaps and ensure every child in our region receives the quality foundational education they deserve. This powerful theme calls us to confront the persistent challenges of access, equity, and excellence in basic education, particularly here in the North. It reminds us that education remains the cornerstone of progress and captures the urgency of addressing one of the most critical developmental challenges facing our region. To illuminate this vital discourse and guide our reflections, it is my great honor and privilege to introduce our distinguished guest speaker for this 12th annual Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Lecture. She is one of the country's most accomplished advocates for girl child education and equitable access, who has dedicated her career to transforming education, policy, and practice. Professor Rukaya Ahmed Rufai, ON, is a renowned educationist, former Honorable Minister of Education of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Born on the 19th of February 1959 in the historic town of Ringim in Jigawa State, Professor Rukaya emerged from modest beginnings to become one of Nigeria's most prominent voices in curriculum development, education policy, and gender equity. Her early years were characterized by intellectual curiosity and discipline as she began her formal education at Katutu Primary School in Ringim between 1965 and 1970. Before proceeding to Shekara Girls Boarding Primary School, 1970-72, a formative period that instilled in her a lifelong commitment to girl child education. She was admitted to Government Girls College Dala in 1973 and successfully completed her secondary education in 1977. That same year, at the tender age of 18, she began her academic journey at Bayero University, Kano, enrolling in the preliminary studies program. She later earned a bachelor's degree in education in 1981, followed by the mandatory NYSC from 1981 to 82. Driven by a deep passion for academic advancement and a commitment to professional excellence, Professor Rufai obtained her master's degree from Bayero University in 1987. Determined to pursue further excellence, she traveled to the United States, where she earned a doctoral degree in education, specializing in curriculum studies from West Virginia University between 1988 and 1991. This marked the beginning of a career that would blend world-class academic rigor with deeply rooted national relevance. Throughout her career, Professor Rufai demonstrated rare intellectual range and leadership dexterity. With over 28 peer-reviewed articles, conference presentations, book chapters, and keynote addresses, she was promoted to the rank of professor by Bayero University, Kano in 2003. I think she deserves an applaud, making her one of the earliest female professors from the northern region. Her academic reputation is complemented by a remarkable record of public service. She is a proud recipient of numerous awards and recognitions, including the Officer of the Order of the Niger, OON, conferred by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2006, and the prestigious Chevening Fellowship by University College London in the same year. Professor Rufai's commitment to public good work was evident in her roles as first Commissioner of Health, Jigawa State, 1997 to 1999, and then Commissioner of Education, Science and Technology, Jigawa State, between 2007 and 2010, and subsequently Honorable Minister of Education, Federal Republic of Nigeria, between 2010 and 2013. As minister, she led national reforms in education financing, teacher training, quality assurance, and access equity. Despite this high-level engagement, she remained loyal to the classroom and the university community, returning each time to Bayero University to continue mentoring generations of students, scholars, and administrators. Her legacy in academia is as enduring as her impact in public service. She has retired, and as she retired from formal university service, Professor Rufai leaves behind a legacy defined by scholarship, sacrifice, and nation building. She is a mother of 5 and a grandmother of 13. She exemplifies the possibility of balancing family, academic excellence, and national leadership with grace and distinction. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Professor Rukayetu Ahmed Rufai to the podium as the 12th distinguished guest speaker of the Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Lecture on Leadership and Good Governance. Thank you. You are welcome.
You need the next slide. Take magana. It's ready now. I can put the magana next slide and say chanza.
Ya za ka fi gani.
Da ke kake cin mana next slide.
Next slide.
No problem. Next slide.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Executive Governor of Gombe State and chairman of this occasion, His Excellency AHMADU Bello, CON, His Excellency the Executive Governor of Jigawa State, our own Malam Umar A. Namadi, FCA, all the excellencies that are here and traditional rulers, and all the special dignitaries that are here, including my dear husband, if I'm allowed to introduce him, please. You are all welcome to this occasion. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Next, the first slide. Let me begin by acknowledging the Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation for its sustained leadership in advancing education in northern Nigeria. Are we showing? Are we on, please? We are on. Okay, sure. This presentation builds directly on the Foundation's 2020 landmark study, but it goes further by addressing new developments, long-standing structural issues, and the changing realities facing education today. Actually, in the year 2020, a research was conducted by Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation, which I happen to have led the team of professors. Some of them are even here to witness this lecture. We spent 2 years researching in northern Nigeria in terms of the problems that we are having, and then we offered solutions. We even offered a strategic plan, which we expected the governors to follow, and that each year there could be a review, so that by today we would have a different story. But unfortunately, 5 years later, we are still facing what we are going to see today. At its core, the message is simple. Excuse me, please. I thought when I was introduced as a teacher, and I was introduced that I always go back to the classroom. So I don't expect any noise, please. I don't expect any noise. Please. The message is simple and is very clear. The future stability and progress of northern Nigeria depend fundamentally on education. Next slide. Focus and structure of the presentation. The discussion is organized around 3 interrelated priorities: improving girls' education, addressing the crisis of out-of-school children, and confronting the quality of learning in our schools. While enrollment figures have improved in some places, the deeper indicators, that is fairness, efficiency, and learning achievement, remain disturbingly weak. So we are talking of girls' education and out-of-school children and quality education, but we are saying that we are still having issues. Next slide is the scale of the crisis. Northern Nigeria today represents the global epicenter of school exclusion. Millions of children remain outside the classroom due to overlapping pressures, economic hardship, insecurity, entrenched social norms, governance weaknesses, and unresolved tensions between religious and formal education traditions. Northern Nigeria hosts the largest population of out-of-school children globally, unfortunately. So it is driven by poverty and insecurity, cultural and gender norms, governance failures, and tensions between Islamic and Western education. The next slide is talking about analytical framework. To understand why progress has been limited, we look beyond surface level symptoms. This analysis examines the philosophical basis of exclusion, the political and economic incentives shaping education governance, the structural disadvantages faced by girls, and the persistent failure to translate schooling into learning. So our framework lives on philosophical roots, political economy, gendered injustice, and girl child education, as well as persistent poor learning outcomes. The next slide is central thesis. The central argument is that Northern Nigeria's education challenge is not simply technical. It reflects deeper normal choices, governance failures, and philosophical contradictions. Addressing it requires a renewed social contract, one that is fair to girls, respectful of culture and religion, and backed by genuine political commitment. So the crisis is not only education, it is philosophical, governance-related, and the issue of morality. There is calls for a new educational social contract that will address gender equitable, that will address a culturally and religiously grounded, and that will also be politically committed to sustained reform. The strategic importance of Northern Nigeria is the next slide. Northern Nigeria occupies most of the country's landmass and holds enormous demographic and political weight. Decisions taken here will not only shape the region's future, but will also determine Nigeria's long-term national development and security. The region covers about 70% of Nigeria's landmass. The critical demographic, cultural, economic, and political significance are also very critical to the region. The next slide is the historical foundations. Historically, education in the region grew from strong Islamic learning traditions before Western education was introduced. Rather than evolving into a coherent system, the two systems developed in parallel, leaving unresolved tensions that continue to affect participation and acceptance today. Education evolved through Islamic scholarship and communal learning, and later Western education. It has created a dual system that is still unresolved. Next slide is Islamic intellectual heritage. This region has a rich intellectual heritage. Figures such as Nana Asma'u and the Sokoto Caliphate scholars such as Usman Danfodio, Abdullah Danfodio, and Mohammed Bello demonstrate that scholarship, faith, and social reform have long been intertwined here. Any credible reform must reconnect with this tradition rather than ignore it. The next is AHMADU Bello's education reforms. The educational reforms of AHMADU Bello illustrate what political vision can achieve. Within a decade, the number of schools expanded rapidly. Enrollment surged, and secondary education was transformed, laying the foundation for modern Northern Nigeria. Education is central to the development agenda. The key achievements at that time: primary schools rose from 3,600 in 1954 to 9,000 in 1965. Enrollment rose to nearly 1 million pupils. Secondary schools also more than doubled at that time. Expansion of teacher training also under AHMADU Bello. Equally important was the investment in teachers and institutions. Colleges of education were expanded. AHMADU Bello University was founded, and Quranic education was deliberately modernized, showing that integration, not conflict, is possible. The next slide is current reality. Unfortunately, this momentum was not sustained. Over time, political focus weakened, leaving a region with enormous human potential, but deep-seated problems in access, fairness, and learning quality. Inconsistent political commitment over the decades, which also result in immense potential, structural, and governance failures. And all this results in deficits of access, equity, and quality. The next slide, scale of out-of-school children. I'm happy my chairman has already started introducing this. Nigeria has now more out-of-school children than any other country, and northern Nigeria accounts for the majority. This is not just a regional concern. It is a global and national emergency. Over 18 million children are out of school in Nigeria today. Majority are located in northern Nigeria, unfortunately. Over 12 million of them are in northern Nigeria. The region alone hosts more out-of-school children than any entire sub-region of East or Central Africa, unfortunately. Bauchi State has about 1.3 million children out of school. Kano State, despite major government efforts, has nearly 1 million out-of-school children. Zamfara and Sokoto states have more than half of all primary school-age children never complete basic education. The next slide is regional disparities. In the Northwest, exclusion is especially severe. In several states, more than half of school-age children are not enrolled, with rural communities facing the worst conditions. The out-of-school rates, we have 45% in Kaduna, we have 55 to 60% in Zamfara and Kebbi. But in the rural areas of Zamfara State, we have up to 70% that are not enrolled in some local government areas. Regional disparities in the Northeast. In the Northeast, years of conflict have undone earlier progress. Insecurity has forced schools to close, displaced families, and driven enrollment levels even lower. We have pre-insurgency, where we have 35 to 40% out of school, but the current level in Borno is now about 50%, Borno and Yobe, and even some parts of Adamawa. But insecurity is the major issue because it has reversed the earlier gains. Regional disparities continue. In the North Central zone, the North Central zone actually performs relatively better overall. Yet conflicts and displacement continue to create pockets of deep exclusion that demand targeted responses. Relatively better outcomes. We have like 20 to 30% out of school in some of the states in the North Central, but severe pockets are even happening now due to conflict and displacement. The next slide is poverty as a barrier. Poverty remains a powerful driver of exclusion. For many families, children's labor is essential for survival, making schooling appear optional rather than necessary. Over 70% of households experience multidimensional poverty. Children are pushed into hawking, farm labor, and informal trades. And of course, some unpleasant consequences are also appearing, joining the bandits and other unwanted groups. The parental education and aspirations is the next slide. Parents' education, especially mothers' education, strongly influences school participation. Where women lack schooling, children are far more likely to remain outside the education system. Over 70% of mothers lack formal education in several states in the north. Children of uneducated mothers are 3 times more likely to be out of school. The next slide is distance and infrastructure barriers. Physical access also matters. Long distances to school discourage attendance, particularly for girls, and increase dropout rates even among those who initially enroll. Many children are walking for about 5 kilometers before going to school. Actually, we have some development in this regard. Some of the governors are working in this area and we are having some progress. But the problem actually remains. Long distances discourage girls' enrollment. Gender gaps in education is the next slide. Gender inequality remains stuck. Girls are far less likely to be enrolled to become literate, and northern Nigeria accounts for the majority of Nigeria's out-of-school children. Girls' enrollment 47 to 70% for boys. 47% enrollment for girls and 70% for boys. Female literacy is still low, is below 10%. We have 7.9 million girls between the ages of 6 to 15 that are out of school. And we have over 70% of them in northern Nigeria, unfortunately. Barriers facing girls' education is the next slide. Girls face multiple overlapping barriers: early marriage, domestic responsibilities, cultural misinterpretations, insecurity, and the absence of female role models in classrooms. Early and forced marriages, cultural and religious misinterpretation, and domestic labor, including also poverty, shortages of female teachers are responsible. The issue of insecurity, of course, are responsible for this barrier. The next slide is benefits of girl-child education. The evidence is overwhelming. Educating girls transforms economies and saves lives. It boosts national income, raises earnings, and dramatically improves child survival. If all girls completed secondary school, GDP could rise by $13 billion annually. Educated women earn 2 to 3 times more than the uneducated, and we have 50% lower infant mortality. The next slide is broader development impact. Beyond economic gains, girls' education strengthens governance, reduces fertility and maternal deaths, and promotes long-term social stability. No single intervention delivers greater gains. Reduced maternal mortality, lower fertility, stronger political participation, and social cohesion and religious stability. The next slide is the Almajiri system. The origins. The Almajiri system was originally a respected pathway for moral and religious formation, grounded in community responsibility and discipline. Originally provided religious instruction as well as moral discipline. But what happens next? We have the distortion of the Almajiri system. Over time, social and economic pressures distorted the entire system. Many children now experience neglect, poor health, and exposure to harmful influences rather than protection and learning. So we are talking about poverty, urbanization, and weak family support. The exposure is to exploitation, malnutrition, radicalization, as we are seeing today. The Almajiri system is the next slide. It's a major source of out-of-school children in northern Nigeria. Currently, we have about an estimated 8 to 10 million Almajiri across the north. 82% of them have no exposure to formal schooling. 60% suffer from chronic malnutrition or poor health. The next slide is insecurity and education. Insecurity has been devastating for education. Attacks, kidnappings, and displacement have disrupted schooling across large parts of the region and frightened families away from formal education. Insurgency, banditry, kidnappings, displacement of populations, school closures and abductions are all responsible for this. Then effects of insurgency on education is the next slide. 1,500 schools were damaged or destroyed in the Northeast since 2009. We have over 1,200 school children that were abducted between 2013 and 2023. And up to now, even recently in 2025, we have seen the abductions that were going on. So we have more abductions across the region now, and the federal and some state governments have closed some schools due to bandits' attack. The next slide is on infrastructure deficits. Even where schools exist, conditions are often unacceptable. Many lack toilets, furniture, fencing, and safe classrooms, making learning difficult and dignity impossible. 47% of Northwest schools lack toilets. 62% of rural schools lack fencing. 51% have inadequate classrooms, and desk ratio are up to 1:8. Most of the details you will see in the main paper, which I'm sure is circulated. Infrastructure as push-out factor is the next slide. Poor infrastructure does more than reduce quality. It actively pushes children out. Girls, rural learners, and children with disabilities are affected most. Classes under trees and safe structures, girls affected by the lack of toilets, children with disabilities are actually excluded. The next slide, weak governance and underfunding. Public funding for education remains far below need. Even available resources, such as UBEC grants, often go unused due to weak administrative capacity and poor prioritization. Actually, even up to yesterday, even this morning, when I tried to inquire exactly what is the outstanding number of states, which is the outstanding number of states that have not accessed their current grant from UBEC, we still have about 10. Even though the figure that I have in the paper was written 2019. But even the current one that I got is reading that still about 10 states are unable to access the grant. Education allocations between 5 to 7% of the national budget, but this is mostly at the national level. We are beginning to see changes at the different levels of states. Some of them are even having 25% or even more allocation to the budget. And even the federal government improving to about 10% or thereabout. Then 10 northern states failed to access 47 billion naira UBEC funds in 2019. But up to now, we have about 10 states that are unable to access the funds. The next slide is talking about political economy failures. Teacher shortages are extreme, especially in rural and conflict-affected areas. Weak governance undermines recruitment, deployment, and accountability across the system. Teacher-pupil ratio is even up to 1 to 120 in some villages. Because the classrooms cannot even contain. We have weak recruitment and deployment. We have education treated as a slogan, not as a priority. The next slide is beyond access, the quality crisis. Northern Nigeria, therefore, faces two interconnected crises. Millions of children are not in school, and millions more attend school without acquiring basic skills. Therefore, we have two in crisis. We have out of school on one hand, and we have in school but not learning on the other hand. So what quality education requires is the next slide. It requires true education is not just about attendance. It depends on capable teachers, relevant teaching, safe environments, and clear evidence that children are learning. We therefore need motivated teachers, we need relevant curriculum, we need safe learning environments, and we also need measurable learning outcomes to amount to this. The next slide is learning deprivation. Learning poverty levels in the region are alarming. In many places, children complete several years of schooling without being able to read or do basic arithmetic. National average is 72.6% learning poverty. So how many percent are learning? Less than 30%, unfortunately. And the Northeast has the highest, 88.3% learning poverty. The North Central has 78.2%, but the researcher here decided to merge Northwest and North Central. So North Central, including Northwest, account for about 78.2% learning poverty. Consequences of learning failure is the next slide. When learning fails, families disengage. Children leave school, return to informal work, and lose faith in education as a path to a better future. Children cannot read or compute. Parents lose confidence. They drop out and return to informal work, unfortunately. Then the next slide is on teachers. Teachers as the center. Teachers sit at the center of this challenge. Overcrowded classrooms, limited training, and reliance on rote methods make effective learning almost impossible. This rote method is still used even, unfortunately, in the private schools. Severe shortages of teachers. About 33.3% of teachers are unqualified. Overcrowded classrooms. The next slide is that the result of the large number of unqualified teachers is learning poverty again. Shortage of female teachers impacts negatively on girls' education. So we have the chart showing the qualified and unqualified. The qualified are in red and the unqualified are unfortunately in blue. So out of about 1 million teachers, let's say in 2022, we have about 600-700 million that are qualified. So the other 300 million are really not qualified to be teachers. Then the next slide is learning environment. The physical learning environment also matters. Schools without water, sanitation, lighting, or security undermine attendance, motivation, and concentration. So only 29% of schools have safe drinking water, a lack of toilets, lighting, and fencing in majority of our schools. The next slide is on curriculum and pedagogy. Teaching practices remain outdated. Memorization and exam coaching dominate, while critical thinking, problem solving, and practical application receive little attention. We have rote learning that dominates our schools, and then we still have exam-focused teaching. Of course, minimal problem solving. Then the next slide is on assessment gaps. Assessment systems do not adequately support learning. Data focuses on inputs rather than outputs, and exams rarely inform improvements in teaching. So here we have focus on inputs, not outputs. We have weak continuous assessment. We have exams that are acting as gatekeepers, unfortunately. The next slide is on digital divide. Technology could help bridge gaps, but the digital divide is wide. Many northern schools lack electricity and connectivity, leaving learners without access during crises such as COVID-19. We have low internet penetration. We have poor access to devices. We also have COVID-exposed digital exposure, but of exclusion, which our children are unfortunately experiencing. The next is on issue of financing and quality. Chronic underfinancing weakens every part of the system, from teachers and infrastructure to materials and monitoring, turning reforms commitments into empty promises. We have underinvestment that undermines our teachers, our infrastructure, and our targeted programs. The next slide is quality as equity. Quality failures disproportionately harm the poorest rural communities and girls. Improving learning is therefore not just a technical task, but a matter of justice. Quality failures therefore hurt girls, rural children, and poor households. Of course, quality is a justice issue that has to be done. The next slide is on states that are acting. Despite all these gloomy pictures, I mentioned earlier that we have, in some of the states, in fact most of the states, we acknowledge that they are trying to do their best. But when we come to the figures, when we go to the classrooms, when we look at the teachers, we still lack so many things. And the statistics are still showing many years earlier. So we have some states that are acting. I'm just picking some few. And of course, obviously, I am beginning with Jigawa State. It is important to recognize that states are responsible across the region. The reforms are underway, often supported by partnerships, though progress remains uneven. So reforms ongoing across the states, we have partnership-driven approaches, and we have an even capacity and skills. So let's look at Jigawa State. Of course, I'm very proud to present this in front of my governor. Jigawa State provides an example of system-wide reform, combining governance improvement, teacher development, infrastructure, investment, and integration of chronic education. And of course, many of the states are also doing chronic integration. In Jigawa State, we have the Unite initiative that is also looking at the entire education system as well as the issue of teachers. And that is why you have the issue of teacher recruitment that my chairman was mentioning. And we have integrated Sangaya education as well as teacher training and governance reforms. And in some other states, like Kano and Kaduna states, we have Kano that has adopted emergency level reforms and large-scale teacher recruitment, while Kaduna has focused strongly on community engagement and governance innovation. So in Kano, we have emergency education reforms, and we also have large-scale teacher recruitment. In Kaduna, we have the issue of returning out-of-school children project, and we also have the community engagement that are also to improve access to education. When we look at Borno State, the next slide, despite prolonged conflict, Borno has prioritized rebuilding schools, supporting girls, and restoring basic education services, a testament to resilience and commitment. We have post-conflict rebuilding, we have infrastructure rehabilitation, and we have renewed commitment to universal basic education. So we are not unaware that the states are active. But why education reform is urgent? Education failure in northern Nigeria is not a local issue. It poses a direct risk to Nigeria's economic future, social cohesion, and national security. Education failure is a national risk, threatens stability and development. The next slide is the main action, the real action agenda. The real action agenda demonstrates that progress is achievable when reforms are coherent, politically supported, adequately funded, and rooted in communities. They need to be politically backed, adequately financed, community-owned, and accountability-driven, as mentioned. We have 7 pillars of action. 7 pillars of action. 7 pillars of action structure in this agenda is focusing on governance reform, out-of-school strategies, girl-child education, quality improvement, Almajiri integration, school security, as well as financing and partnerships. Governance reform is the next slide. At the heart of reform lies governance, clear targets, public accountability, and evidence-based decision-making must replace rhetoric. In most cases, we are always happy to say we are addressing education. Education is our priority. But when it comes to real action, you don't see it on ground. So we need to change that. We have to have measurable targets, public accountability, and data-driven management in order to achieve that. Then the multi-track access strategies is the next slide. Because children are excluded for different reasons, solutions must be flexible, combining accurate data, community mobilization, and alternative learning pathways, mapping out of school children, community mobilization, accelerated learning pathways are all required. The next slide is on girls' education systems reform. Girls' education requires firm enforcement of laws, safe and welcoming schools, and deliberate efforts to increase the number of female teachers. We need to enforce Child Rights Act. We need to have girl-friendly schools. We need to recruit more female teachers. All those are responsible to see changes in our girls in schools. The next slide is Teachers Transformation Compact. A regional teachers compact will professionalize teaching, strengthen foundational learning, and ensure incentives for service in difficult areas. We need that minimum qualifications need to be addressed, fundamental skills focused, incentives for rural areas. The next slide is on learning-centered accountability. Improving quality demands a shift towards measurable learning itself, sharing results transparently, and using data to support schools and teachers. Early grade assessments, community accessible results, and also learning-focused school report cards. The next slide is reforming the Almajiri system. The Almajiri system must be brought under regulation to protect children, ensure standards, and integrate basic literacy and numeracy. Regulation, not separation, welfare standards, integrated curriculum. I'm aware, even researchers are aware, that most states are also working on the Almajiri. But still we have more and more and more of them out of school. So we need to change our focus in order to address this. Secure in schools is the next slide. In secure context, safe school strategies are essential. Protection, preparedness, and psychosocial support must be part of education planner. Safe schools declaration, risk assessments, and psychosocial support are required. The next one is learning continuity in emergencies. When schools close, learning should not stop. Flexible, pre-planned alternatives help prevent dropout and long-term exclusion. Temporary learning centers must be provided. Radio instructions, flexible calendars are all required so that schooling can continue where areas may have closed schools. Then the issue of financing and UBEC funds, I even mentioned earlier, that available education funds must be fully assessed and transparently utilized. Financing failures reflect choices, not inevitabilities. We need to focus on high-burden local government areas. We need to focus on counterpart funding as an obligation, and we need to have transparent tracking of the funds. The next slide is role of partnerships and Sir AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation. Development partners and the Sir AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation play vital catalytic roles through convening, research, scholarships, and leadership development. We need to have convening power. We need to have evidence-based advocacy. We need to have scholarships and leadership development. States and the Sir AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation may have to work very closely in order to achieve this. Education as social contract. Education represents the core of the social contract. Political courage, integrity, community responsibility, and enlightened religious leadership are indispensable. So we need political courage, administrative integrity, community and religious leadership are all required in order to achieve that. Then education as security strategy is the next slide. Education is also the most effective security strategy. It reduces vulnerability to extremism and lays the foundation for peace and cohesion. So it reduces extremism, it strengthens cohesion, social cohesion, as well as long-term peace and investment that is required all over the north. Now, the very, very final call. Legacy and moral imperative is my very last slide. Ultimately, this is a question of legacy. The choices made now will determine whether future generations inherit instability or they inherit opportunity. The moment demands that decisive collective action must be taken. And Your Excellency, that action must be taken now. Now, not later. Action must be taken now, not later. Because we will continue to have population pressure, which will still intensify, and still education determines the future. So ladies and gentlemen, we have no alternative but to concentrate on education. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala.
Thank you so much, renowned Professor Abed.
That was Professor Rukayetu Ahmed Rufai, former Minister of Education, Federal Republic of Nigeria. She expounded the issues around education, and particularly girls' education, and what is expected of the governors in the North to do to ensure that the sector is revamped and all the decisions they are taking now reversed and be refocused so that targets could be achieved that will impact the entire society. This is critical, and the decision makers are here present, listening to her attentively, and we're expecting that they will take home these points and go and digest, so that they will be including them one after another in their policies and programs designed to revitalize the educations, and of course ensuring that the burden of out-of-school children continues to reduce to bring about sanity in the society, and of course development. Inclusive governance is what is required of them. Children neglect should also stop, and the growing concern of insecurity and of course banditry that is disturbing the region is also one of the factors that is hindering the development of education. And I hope that the leaders here present will look into this critically, especially the governors, so that they will make correct decisions that will change the narrative in the region and of course the country at large. Cultural Troop will come and entertain the guests after listening to a very long lecture delivered by Professor Rukayetu Ahmed Rufai before next program agenda on the program continues.
Thank you so much, the Kanuri Cultural Group. The next is from Taura Local Government, Malaja. Malaja. Taura Local Government, Malaja. A popular house dance, they perform wonderfully well in the recent concluded festivals in Calabar, representing and showcasing the culture, traditions, and values of the people of Jigawa State. There was also the selection. Thank you so much, Kanuri, for the wonderful entertainment for Africa, South Africa, and we look at us. Thank you most sincerely. The next is Malaja, a popular house dance from Taura Local Government. Ada kata mana ini? Zaman saaju. Daga susah kazauri. Mana ada? Ekola hausadan. Ba lokaci ba na gaisuwa ku je ku aiki. DJ, please celebrate the music.
Fasitin ka yayi mai gidan ɗan shan tusalan mu mun yi ba a yau kuma nan da yayyo nazar kamar ka ba tunan kairin sardauna ɗan mutan garin raba fikirar mulki ɗan moɗi ita ta sa ya jarraba alkairin da yayi wa arewaci su zai yaba ya tabbata gaba Najeriya ba a yi kamar sa ba. Share ne dattin arewa tunawa da ayyukan da ya yi wa yankin arewa gwamna dan modi ne ya kirkira gwamnan jigawa wajibi ne yar wadalla in ne bai ta kan yabawa shantu har da kwarya kai salo cikin kwarewa sai da wani gudunmawar da ya yi sai dai ai godiya mahutu safiya da sanyi sardauna godiya mayar da arewa abu guda yayi sardauna godiya biyu zariyar mu shi yayi sardauna godiya gidan rediyon Kaduna shi yayi sa Ahmadu Bello haihuwarsa 12 ga 6 watan Yuni ina nufin na ce watan 6 1910 a can Sokoto gida himmar sardauna tun yana yaro ɗan 16 sardauna kishin ƙasar sassan fa baya gargada shi ne malam amini yayi da mazan jiya.
Muna godiya saboda lokaci ayi hakurin Allah kai mu gala insha Allah in the night during the gala night. We thank you most sincerely for the wonderful entertainment. The next presentation is on the short documentary on the achievements of the Jigawa State government under the distinguished leadership of His Excellency Governor Malam Umar FDFC, the champion of international peace, justice and human rights. A lot of Lasiba transforming themselves through the introduction of numerous programs in agriculture, health, education, economic empowerment, all creation in a open and transparent government with zero tolerance for corruption. Inshallah, a 5-minute short documentation for the achievement of His Excellency.
Mai jigawa malam, gwamna mai jigawa malam, mai kazaura malam, mai yankin kazaura malam, mai haɗe da malam ga mai yankin haɗe da malam, mai dutse da rinkin kai ka zama garkuwar su malam, mai kuma da tayayye ga mai yankin kuma da tayayye, nawa mai jigawa, tila da yan fada wa kowa.
In the heart of Nigeria's north, quiet transformation is unfolding, not driven by slogans, not defined by promises alone, but shaped by deliberate choices, steady work, and a clear sense of purpose. This is in Jigawa State, a place turning plans into structures, policies into people's progress, and vision into measurable change. Progress needs a foundation, and in Jigawa, that foundation is being laid kilometer by kilometer.
Since the beginning of Governor Umar Enemeri's administration, 25 out of 26 inherited road projects have been completed.
That momentum made way for 48 new road projects stretching across 978 kilometers, reconnecting communities, easing movement and opening access to market and services. But development must also protect what people already have. To confront seasonal flooding, over 100 kilometers of flood embankments have been constructed, while more than 50 kilometers of river Hadija had been dredged, safeguarding lives, farms, and entire settlements. And for families, stability begins at home. Across Jigawa, 1,500 housing units now stand, not just as buildings, but as symbols of dignity, security, and belonging. Clean water part of the foundation. Through collaboration with the federal government, Jigawa is benefiting from the 59 billion naira Greater Dusa Water project, ensuring reliable access to safe water for thousands of households. The most important infrastructure is not made of concrete. It is built in the human mind. Jigawa has placed education at the center of its development agenda, dedicating over 30% of its 2024 budget and more than 20% of its 2025 budget to this sector. Classrooms are filling with teachers, 8,552 new educators recruited, reducing overcrowding and improving learning outcomes. The student-teacher ratio has dropped from 75:1 to 50:1. Opportunity is being kept at home. 149 first-class graduates are already employed by the state, while 100% increases in local scholarship are easing financial barriers. Across the state, 156 schools have been renovated, 4 TVET centers of excellence established, and 11 billion naira invested in vocational education. And for the future of healthcare, 194 students are currently studying medicine and health-related courses overseas, an investment not just in degrees, but in lives yet to be saved. A productive society begins with the healthy people. Today, 143,000 vulnerable citizens are enrolled in Jigawa's health insurance scheme, ensuring that illness does not automatically mean hardship. The workforce has grown stronger with over 3,000 health workers recruited, while facilities across the state are being transformed. 18 hospitals have been renovated and new general hospitals are rising in Ringim and Kafanhausa. Specialized care is expanding too, with free dialysis centers in Hadija and Gumel and upgraded facilities in Kazauri and Gumel Orthopedic Hospital. On the horizon stands a bold vision, the medical village at Paniso Duse, future hub for diagnosis, cardiac care and advanced medical services.
Wannan center suna aiki babu dare ba rana. Kuma mu a matsayinmu na patients ba abin da za mu ce ga wannan santa sai mu godiya ta musamman ga mai girma gwamnan jihar Jigawa Alhaji Umar Namadi Dan Modi a bisa yanda ya subsidizing din wannan abu idan ake yin sa free of charge babu abin da mutum zai biya. An dan yi mana a wasu wurare mun ga a wurin wani wurin ma zaka biya 60,000 da wani abu, wani wurin zaka biya 30,000, wani wurin zaka biya 17,000. It depends day. To amma sai gashi anan ana mana shi a kyauta.
In Jigawa, agriculture is not tradition alone, it is strategy. The state now ranks first nationally in wheat, sesame and hibiscus production, and second in rice cultivation. Over 250,000 hectares of rice and 105,000 hectares of wheat have been cultivated, with a clear path to 500,000 hectares by 2030. This success is powered by tools and training. 26 billion naira has been invested in agricultural machinery, including 300 tractors and harvesters, while 30 master technicians trained in China now sustain mechanization locally. Support reaches farmers directly. 40,000 solar-powered irrigation pumps distributed, 58,500 rice farmers supported, and 1,500 extension agents deployed under the J-Agro program. And agriculture is creating opportunity. 7,200 youths are actively engaged in rice production through state and local government partnerships, turning farming into enterprise.
Your Excellency, your commitment to the efficient and transparent distribution of inputs, expansion of production and overall support of farmers to farmers, including those of special clusters, is truly commendable. and it serves as a model for other states to emulate.
Alfaharin jigawa, gatan jigawa, kafafu jure tsayuwa, hannu baiwa kowa, majikan tallakawa, dan modigiwa, Allah ya baka baiwa, shaidawa kowa, malam gwamnan jigawa, kai ne gatan jigawa, alfaharin jigawa, sarkin aiki agogo.
Development succeeds when people are lifted along with it. Across Jigawa, 500 youth are being trained in artificial intelligence and emerging technologies, preparing them for tomorrow's economy. Entrepreneurship is being seeded immediately. 300 fully stocked retail kiosks distributed. 10 million naira grants for supporting plumbing businesses, and 500 youths trained in borehole maintenance, keeping water flowing across communities. Women are the central to the progress. 12,600 women have received 50,000 cash grants, strengthening household economies and small businesses. And security is community-based. Nearly 10,000 indigenous private guards now protect government facilities, creating jobs while fostering local ownership. Strong institutions sustain progress. 8 new agencies now strengthens governance. From digital economy and education quality assurance to agricultural transformation and power development. Electricity access is expanding through new transmission lines, 30 transformers, solar street lights, and mini-grid projects, reinforcing safety and productivity. This governance that plans, implements, and adopts. From roads to classrooms, from farms to hospitals, from youth empowerment to institutional reform, the story of Jigawa is not told only in numbers. Kilometers built, hectares cultivated, thousands trained. It is told in faces. The student who stays in school, the farmer who harvests again, the patient who receives care, the youth who finds purpose. And this is not the end of the journey. It is the direction that matters.
Kamar ruwan shuka.
Mai jigawa malam, gwamna mai jigawa malam, mai kazaura malam, mai yankin kazaura malam, mai haɗe da malam ga mai yankin haɗe da malam, mai dutse da rinkin kai ka zama garkuwar su malam, mai kuma da tsayayye ga mai yankin kuma da tsayayye. Nawa mai jigawa, tila da yan fada wa kowa.
Your Excellencies, you have just watched an excellent presentation, achievement, and documentary of His Excellency Dr. Malam Umar Nama DFC in several sectors of development in Jigawa State in accordance with his 12-4 agenda, which contributed immensely to the development of Jigawa State in several fields of human endeavor. Your Excellencies, permit me at this point in time to invite our most respected father of the day, His Royal Highness Dr. Adam Wakar Majis CON, the Emir of Hadija, Chairman Jigawa Council of Chiefs, ably represented by His Royal Highness the Emir of Dutse, Alhaji Dr. Muhammad Hamim Nuhu Sunusi CFR, to present his address. Respected Royal Father, please. Allah taimake sarki. Allah ƙara wa sarki lafiya.
That is the Emir of Dutse, Hamim Nuhusinusi, invited to the podium for his remarks. He is representing the Emir of Hadejia, who is the chairman, Jigawa State Council of Emirs.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Gombe State, Chairman, Northern Governors Forum, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Jigawa State, our host, Your Excellencies, Your Highnesses, prominent citizens, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I wish to thank the Board of Trustees and the management of Sir AHMADU Bello, Sir Donan Sokoto for this remarkable conference which is being hosted by the Jigawa State Government. I wish to thank you for all your humanitarian activities you've been doing, which has been showcased in a short documentary which was showed earlier on. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Northern Nigeria, we are in trouble. And we have to say it and accept that we are in trouble. We have a common enemy, which is insecurity. And if we don't tackle insecurity in northern Nigeria, all the efforts done by the government will go in vain. So we have to accept and sit down, discuss how we can tackle insecurity in Nigeria, which is really dividing us. And without unity in northern Nigeria, we cannot achieve anything. So we have to sit down and see how we can tackle insecurity seriously. It has brought mistrust between us, which is affecting our economy in northern Nigeria, which the disparity is clearly seen. So, ladies and gentlemen, we should not just sit down and say, let's allow our political leaders to handle it. They are also human beings. They need our assistance, they need our advice. So I think we have to sit down and talk about it. We're talking about investment in northern Nigeria. No serious investor will come to northern Nigeria. No serious investor will come to northern Nigeria with all this insecurity. At the end, we'll start complaining that we're being marginalized, nothing is happening in this part of the country. But insecurity is the culprit. Apology, I forgot to acknowledge the presence of the Vice President, who is heavily represented by the Deputy Chief of Staff. I would like to thank Professor Rukaya for a remarkable presentation. But, like she said, government has been funding, but the outcome keeps going down. The outcome is poor. And we are the problem. Government has done its own. It has pumped funding into education. But we, as individuals, whenever the reason why we are having a down arrow on our education system is private universities, private colleges, private schools, which are now the alternative, and they are a new norm to us, because we have killed the public sector education, and we have taken our kids to a private sector education. So I think we have to a private sector education. So I think we have to look into it as well and see how we can nominate teachers, who are capable. We nominate them who are capable. We nominate them on merit, not based on sentiment. So, Excellency, I want to thank you, most especially all our governors. We know we are doing a lot. You're doing a lot, but we as individuals, like I said, we also have a responsibility. So you have to I beg your I want to apologize, because we'll come back to you and be advising, even though it might not suit well with you. So I want to thank everybody for participating, and I wish I want to wish everyone a safe trip back to their various destinations. God bless Nigeria. God bless Northern Nigeria, and God bless us all. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, thank you. Sincerely, our most respected royal father of the day, commending the foundation for the fantastic, wonderful innovation to enhance service delivery in Northern Nigeria, stressing the need to do more to address the current insecurity in Northern Nigeria.
hankali da wannan.
May I most respectfully invite the chief host, His Excellency Governor Dr. May I most respectfully invite the chief host, His Excellency Governor Dr. Malam Umar Namadi FC, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, the senior fellow of the Nigerian.
Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, one of our own. Your Excellency, the chairman of this occasion, the chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, and the governor of Gombe State, Malang Inua Mohammed Yahaya. Your Excellencies, the deputy governors here representing various Northern Governors Forum,
Dailies today on 99.3 Nigeria in
.3 Nigeria and for Lagos. Good morning to you. Welcome to Dailies today. Yes, we're good to go. I'm Sheriff Quadri.
I'm Jimmy Disu. Good morning.
You can listen to our show across Facebook, YouTube. You can watch, drop your comments, share the likes. If you don't have our mobile app yet, please feel free to do that. You can copy from your App Store or Google Play Store if you're on Android platform. So here we go. We're going to start with our first story this morning. The Punch's paper. Page 2 of the Punch. Amnesty deal. Outrage mounts as Katsina moves to release 70 bandits.
Honestly, I don't think there's somebody that can really explain in detail what exactly is going up north. For instance, this is what has happened in Katsina State is that they want to release 70 of these people, and so there's a complaint here from, of course, Afenifere, Ohaneze, all the various organizations are saying that I thought we were going to treat these people as criminals and prisoners. And where is all this coming from? The Punch says that they couldn't confirm on Monday whether the bandits had been released or not, after one of their correspondents visited the office of the Kano State Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General to confirm if the bandits were still in custody and verify authenticity of the alleged documents including signatures, reportedly linked to the release of the suspects. However, the ministry officials declined comment. Now, when you want to confirm something and a comment is denied, then you are left to take which of the better favors whatever position you've
confronted a series of profound existential challenges that have persistently threatened socio-economic development, social cohesion, and overall prosperity. Despite enduring both overt and covert provocations and deliberate attempts to sow discourse, the region has managed to preserve, albeit with great difficulty, in the face of adverse human development indicators, widespread insecurity, high level of youth unemployment, and the range of other developmental obstacles. More recently, a concerted campaign of misinformation driven by external interests has sought to distort the narrative surrounding insecurity in the region, further complicating an already complex landscape and adding to the myriad of challenges confronting northern Nigeria. Objective and dissenting mind, both within and outside Nigeria, knows better. Our resilience will preserve. Amidst all these considerable yet surmountable challenges, the unwavering commitment of the regional organization, such as AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation, deserve ongoing recognition, encouragement, and support. In the same spirit, I wish to commend the Northern Elders Forum for their pivotal role last year in organizing the annual inaugural Northern Nigeria Investment and Industrialization Summit, which has culminated in the creation of Northern Nigerian Economic Development Council. With the endorsement of the Northern State Governors Forum, I believe this council is poised to deliver a comprehensive strategic economic development master plan for the region. It is noteworthy that under the unrelenting and visionary leadership of my chairman, His Excellency Muhammad Inuwa Yahaya, the Executive Governor of Gombe State, the Northern State Governors Forum is undertaking a profound effort to reposition and strengthen its role in advancing the development goals of the region. I am confident that the ongoing momentum will steer the forum towards a more unified and impactful direction. Decision to establish the multi-billion naira security trust fund and transform the Northern State Government Forum into a well-resourced, formidable institutions are initiatives that will not only strengthen our collective capacity to address present security challenges, but also serve as a catalyst for the sustained socio-economic development and progress across the region. These forward-thinking measures reflect our shared determination to overcome adversity through strategic actions, partnership, and visionary leadership, thereby ensuring a brighter and more secure future for our people. It is either that we effectively continue to organize or we continue to painfully agonize. As we sustain the current momentum of progress in getting organized, we are safeguarding the prosperity of the current and future generations. I therefore urge all our regional organizations to continue to work together, leverage each other's strengths, and foster greater synergy in addressing our shared challenges. By collaborating closely, sharing expertise, and supporting one another, we can amplify our collective impact and accelerate the journey toward lasting security, prosperity, and socio-economic development for the region and its people. Even as we strive to strengthen our regional institutions for the task ahead, it is crucial to foster strong community relationships and ensure that governments uphold accountability, transparency, and fairness. Good governance and integrity are key to building an inclusive, just, and secure society where everyone can thrive. There is no doubt that North is hugely blessed in every way possible. Vast arrival land, most of it adaptable to all crops and all year-round farming. Vast population, largely useful and industrious. vast natural resources, including river basin and soil minerals of all kinds, huge tourism potentials, talented and creative people with rich and diverse cultures, moderate climate setting, and whatnot. Nevertheless, as earlier noted, the region continued to confront numerous development challenges, with the millions enduring deteriorating living standard and living in constant fear for their life, safety, and livelihood. It is truly heartwarming to witness an unprecedented level of collective commitment in tackling our regional challenges head-on. While the Northern State Government Forum is re-strategizing and repositioning itself for the future, individually, the 19 state governors are diligently fulfilling their respective constitutional mandate to ensure the security and welfare of our citizens. Guided by the core values of social justice, equality, and equal opportunities, these leaders are making significant strides in confronting the existential threat facing our region. Each state, considering its unique circumstances and priorities, has launched focused intervention such as strengthening local security frameworks, enhancing community policing initiative, and establishing security trust fund to reinforce the safety of lives and property across the northern region. In addition, various states are implementing programs to stimulate investment in vocational training, entrepreneurship, and skill acquisition, thus promoting youth self-reliance and steadily reducing unemployment. United by a shared vision, the Northern State Governors Forum is advancing collaborative initiatives and a unified agenda centered on critical priorities, including bolstering regional security and fostering greater social cohesion within our communities. Let me take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the Federal Government of Nigeria under the leadership of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the renewed effort toward tackling the devastating insecurity, particularly in some states in the north, where it has been ranging in many forms. As indicated for a long time, this has severely hampered the economy and public welfare, disrupting lives, deterring investment, and causing widespread fear. While we deeply appreciate and commend this revitalized effort, we strongly urge that they remain well coordinated and effectively sustained until lasting peace is achieved in the north. Such continued dedication will be crucial in driving swift economic recovery and ensuring safer, more prosperous future for all citizens, both in the region and across the nation at large. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, as I conclude my remarks, let me extend my one heartfelt congratulations to this year's esteemed award recipient, the late President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, GCON, General Tiwa Danjuma, retired, GCON, Honorable Zainab Bilkachua, CFR, Mr. Anthony NZ Sani, OON, and the talented young poet, Mariam Bukar Hassan. Each of you has exemplified exceptional commitment, vision, and selfless service, significantly shaping the progress, unity, and advancement of Northern Nigeria. Whether through exemplary leadership and statesmanship, championing justice and human rights, infactible philanthropy, or creative excellence in art and literature, your remarkable achievement illuminates the past for both present and future generations, serving as enduring source for inspiration for all of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive the late President Umar Musa in Al-Jannatul Firdaus. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Foundation for its suitable selection of Professor Rikaya Ahmad Rufai, OON, as this year's guest speaker. We are truly honored. During his tenure as Commissioner for Education in Jigawa State, Professor Rufai championed transformative advancement in both access and quality of education. Her leadership was marked by significant improvement in enrollment rates, while also narrowing the gender gap across all educational levels. Nationally, as the Honorable Minister of Education, he spearheaded key reforms, facilitating Nigerians' entry into the Global Partnership for Education, and led initiatives that continue to benefit basic education across northern Nigeria. And that has been proved today by her presentation. Her expertise and dedication make her an ideal guide for this important occasion. I extend profound gratitude to all the dignitaries who have graced this occasion with their presence, from far and near. When you are here, I invite you to explore our state capital and beyond. Witness the ongoing development and the warmth of our people and the stride we are making toward greater Jigawa. Finally, Mr. Chairman, I would also like to extend my heartfelt commendation to the Sir AHMADU Memorial Foundation for its unwavering dedication to advancing unity, tolerance, and cooperation among the diverse people of northern Nigeria. These foundation initiatives, ranging from the award of scholarship to hundreds of science and technology students, to providing entrepreneurship and vocational training for women and youth, championing educational reforms, and offering valuable leadership mentoring, have made a tangible difference in our region's development effort. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as a government, Jigawa State, our doors remain open for sustained support for the foundation in achieving its mission for being a foremost catalyst for the unity, peace, and socio-economic development of northern Nigeria in the context of one nation. Thank you very much. May God help us all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Attention, His Excellency, deserve a round of applause, please. His Excellency deserves a place in the Guinness World Record. This is a recognition of His Excellency Giant Stride. So taking Jigawa State to a greater height. In accordance with His Excellency 12-point agenda, which is the support and prayer from the good people of the state. Your Excellency, the good people of Jigawa State are in support of your policies. You have been doing wonderfully well to enhance the quality of life of the good people of Jigawa State since you are the office on May 29, 2023. Transforming the state in agriculture, health, education, wealth creation, economic empowerment, which contributed significantly in poverty reduction, according to a research recently released by the National Bureau of Statistics, Abuja, Nigeria. May I most respectfully, at this point in time, invite the chairman of the event, His Excellency Muhammad Inuaha, CON, the Executive Governor of Gombe State, and Chairman of the Governor Forums, a progressive governor, have been the same mission and ambition with His Excellency for the progress of Jigawa. Okay, next.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على النبي الكريم وبعد. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented here by His Excellency Distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, the Deputy Chief of Staff. Your Excellency, the Governor of Jigawa State, our host. Your Excellencies, the Deputy Governors here present, ably representing our various governors that are here with us in spirit. All other Excellencies, former Deputy Governors that are here. The Chairman of the Arewa Consultative Forum, the Chairman of the AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation Board of Trustees, and other members of the Board of Trustees, management and staff of the AHMADU Bello Foundation, our royal fathers here present, especially His Royal Highness the Emir of Dutse, as well representing the Emir of Hadejia, our awardees, and most especially the former First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria here with us, followed by my own mother, Justice Zainab Bulkachwa, and all other awardees here present. Distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and a very good afternoon to all of us. It is a profound honor and rare privilege for me to address you as the chairman of this auspicious occasion, which is the 12th annual Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Lecture on Leadership and Good Governance, taking place in the great city of Dutse, Jigawa State today, the 20th day of January 2026. We gather to brainstorm on the theme be more timely as it reflects the visionary ideals of the late Sardauna of Sokoto, Sir AHMADU Bello, whose legacy of progressive leadership continues to inspire us all. As we hold these proceedings, it is critical that we pause solemnly to remember a dark chapter in our nation's history. 5 days ago, precisely on the 15th of January 2026, we marked the 60th anniversary of the tragic assassination of Sir AHMADU Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto, and the Premier of the defunct Northern Region. Together with the Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, and other eminent political and military leaders from both the northern and southwestern regions of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that fateful coup day of the 15th of 1996 shook the very foundations of our young nation, cutting short the lives of visionary leaders whose dedication to unity, progress, and service remains unparalleled. 60 years after the passing of Sardauna, we gather here not merely to mourn, but to reflect on the enduring relevance of his ideals. This memorial lecture stands as a testament to the timelessness of his vision that education, good governance, and equitable development are the pillars upon which a strong and united Nigeria must rest. Today, as we confront the challenges of our time, we are reminded that the best way to honor his memory is to translate his principles into real action and ensure that his legacy continues to guide our path towards a brighter future. Let me express my profound gratitude and warm felicitations to all our distinguished guests whose presence here today underscores our collective commitment to advancing education and good governance in our region. I am particularly delighted to welcome our special guest of honor, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, ably represented by distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Aleje here. Your presence and support lends great weight to this occasion, and we are honored to have you with us. To my fellow governors from across the northern states, I commend your dedication to addressing our shared challenges. Your continued collaboration reflects the unity and resolve that the Sardauna himself championed. I also acknowledge with deep respect our revered traditional leaders whose wisdom and guidance remains invaluable in shaping our communities. In addition, I recognize the representatives of the federal and state governments, members of the academia, the civil society, and the private sector, as well as all dignitaries who have traveled from far and near in order to enrich this important discourse. Let me also extend my heartfelt appreciation to the Sir AHMADU Bello Foundation for its resilience and untiring resolve in sustaining this lecture series over the past 12 years. By rotating the event among the northern states, the foundation has fostered another unity and shared purpose, thereby ensuring that the Sardauna's ideals of education, unity, and progress resonate across our region. It is noteworthy that Niger State will host the 13th edition, inshallah, in 2027. And I look forward to continued collaboration in keeping this noble tradition ahead. Our gathering today has been enriched by the profound insights of our guest speaker, Professor Ruqayyatu Ahmad Rufai, OON, the former Minister of Education. Professor Rufai's depth of knowledge and meticulous research have illuminated the path forward with clarity and urgency. Your lifelong commitment to education as a lecturer, a commissioner, and a former minister has shaped policies and inspired generations, and for that we are eternally grateful. I fully align with the submissions of our guest speaker on the myriad of challenges militating against equitable access to quality basic education in northern Nigeria. These challenges, ranging from insecurity and inadequate infrastructure to cultural barriers and funding constraints, are not mere statistics. They represent a crisis threatening the future of our youth and the prosperity of our region. Consider these sobering data points as mentioned. Nigeria accounts for 18 million out-of-school children, and 70% of those are located in northern Nigeria. In states like Yobe, Bauchi, and Sokoto, literacy rates hover below 30%. Net attendance of the girl child in primary school in the northeast and the northwest stands at about 47.7% and 47.3% respectively. And nationwide, only 26% of children aged 7 to 13 possess basic literacy and numeracy skills, with the North bearing a greater brand of this learning deficiency. These figures point a gloomy picture, with millions of our children who are being denied the basic education that is their birthright. As the chairman of the Northern States Governors Forum, I can attest that these issues dominate our discussions at all times. Education is the bedrock of human capital development, and without addressing these barriers, our region's progress will remain stunted. Collectively, the Northern States Governors Forum have taken decisive steps to confront these challenges. We have strengthened collaboration with the Universal Basic Education Commission and development partners, plus donor agencies, in order to expand access, improve infrastructure, and enhance teacher training. These partnerships are critical in mobilizing resources and expertise to tackle the out-of-school menace and bridge learning gaps across our states. Recognizing that insecurity remains the greatest threat to education in northern Nigeria, the forum has established the Northern Nigeria Security Trust Fund. This initiative is designed to provide sustainable financing for coordinated security interventions so as to ensure that schools and learning environments are protected from abductions, insurgency, and other threats. By pooling resources and working closely with relevant security agencies and local communities, we are determined to safeguard the future of our children. In addition, we launch initiatives such as the Nigeria Education Forum 2025 in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Education to explore innovative financing models for education, and state-level workshops on foundational learning have also been rolled out across the region in order to improve early grade literacy and numeracy, with the goal of enrolling millions back to the classrooms. These collective actions reflect our shared resolve, which is to confront insecurity, strengthen educational systems, and ensure that every child in northern Nigeria has equitable access to quality basic education. Let me give an example of what we are doing in Gombe State, but please pardon me, don't accuse me of being selfish. I just want to mention as an example, and I believe each of us is doing so many things in several ways in our various states in order to see that we take our children out of the streets and take them back to the schools. Part of our initiatives include establishing a high-level task force, which I recently did, comprising of eminent scholars across the north, not from Gombe State, across the north, for the revitalization of basic education, driving reforms in curriculum, teacher training, and infrastructure. And part of the committee includes people like Matemaki Tom Mayashi, former commissioner in the government of late Balarabe Musa in Kaduna State. So also Dr. Hamid Boboy, the immediate past secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission, and Dr. Nuri Akubu, who is from Yobe State and was one time executive secretary of the Polytechnics Management Board. We launched a 13.5 billion naira schools improvement grant recently in 2025, and we disbursed that through school-based management committees in order to upgrade facilities across 442 secondary schools. We expanded access to higher education by establishing 2 new campuses of Gombe State University in order to address our priority needs in agriculture and also in environmental sciences. We are partnering with the Northeast Development Commission to rebuild the schools for persons with disability, which are special schools in our 3 senatorial districts, so that they will provide quality education to our those in special needs, and in order to ensure inclusivity of all our people. And to date, we've enrolled 450,000 out of school children. That is between 2019 and 2025, which is the time that I have been governor. Alongside consistent payment of scholarships, construction of modern model schools, and covering senior secondary school examination fees for all our secondary final year students. These initiatives are already yielding results with improved enrollment rates and learning outcomes across the state. When I assumed office in 2019, the percentage score of students with 5 credits, including maths and English, was only 22.8%. As at last year, our score was 75.8% in YF. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this lecture is a wake-up call for all stakeholders to confront the dire educational situation in northern Nigeria head-on. It is not a burden for government alone. It demands a collective action from parents, communities, traditional and religious leaders. The private sector and civil society equally are very important in order to drive this process forward. We must all rise to the occasion by investing our time, resources, and strong advocacy to ensure that every child has access to quality education. Once again, I thank all dignitaries for gracing this occasion. Your participation reaffirms our shared vision for a better northern Nigeria. I also appreciate the hospitality extended by His Excellency, my brother, my friend, the Governor of Jigawa State, and the government and people of Jigawa State for hosting this occasion. And your warmth and efficiency have made us feel at home, even though we are supposed to be at home in Jigawa State. I encourage northern states, as well as the well-to-do individuals and groups, to support the Sir AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation financially and otherwise, because your contributions will enable the foundation to sustain and expand its impactful work in promoting leadership, education, and good governance. Before I conclude, let me congratulate this year's recipients of the Sir AHMADU BELLO Memorial Awards. Each one of them exemplifies the values of excellence, service, and dedication that the Sardona himself embodied. They include the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, may his soul rest in peace, posthumous award, General T.Y. Danjuma, GCON, for lifetime achievements, Honorable Justice Zainab Bulkachua, lifetime achievement, Elder Anthony Zesani, lifetime achievement, and Mariam Bukar Hassan for award in merit. Each of these distinguished personalities have excelled in their respective fields and contributed immensely to the growth and development of our region and Nigeria at large. Their recognition today is not only well-deserved, but also a reminder that the ideals of leadership, integrity, and service to humanity remain timeless. I would like to use this opportunity to highlight the ongoing reforms of the Northern States Governors Forum, which culminated in the development of a robust institutional framework and organizational structure anchored by the office of a full-time Director General. I am therefore pleased to introduce or announce here formally the appointment of Mr. Ezekiel Gomez, OFR, to this pivotal role, where he will now work with a team of directors and officials to run the Northern State Government Forum Secretariat and oversee the smooth handling of affairs for all its affiliates and all northern institutions, such as the AHMADU BELLO Foundation, the Area Consultative Forum, the Northern Elders Forum, and the Coalition of Northern Groups, etc. And the choice of Ezekiel Gomez is by design, it's not by accident. It's somebody that rose to the rank of Managing Director of the Area Hotels, a very strong subsidiary of the Northern New Nigeria Development Company, which is commonly owned, the only institution that is commonly owned by the Northern States at the moment. Equally, he served as the Secretary to the Plateau State Government, meaning he has both the private and the public sector experience at the highest levels. And I believe he's quite a good person, and he happens even to be a trustee member in the board of the Sir AHMADU BELLO Foundation. So it's a big coincidence, and I believe he's going to do justice to this assignment. I think with that, we intend to speak with one cohesive voice and confront our shared developmental challenges as one united people of northern Nigeria. In closing, let us recommit ourselves to the ideals of Sir AHMADU Bello, which includes unity, education, progress, and prosperity for all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our efforts and guide us towards a brighter future for northern Nigeria, and indeed for a wider future and greater future for Nigeria as a whole. Thank you very much all. God bless you. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, you have just had an excellent and colorful address by the chairman of the event, the Executive Governor of Gombe State, Malang Muhammad Inuya has CON, reaffirming their commitment to support the foundation in order to achieve its mandate. Highlighting the numerous achievements he recorded while following the affairs of Gombe State in several sectors of development which contributed immensely.
The program continues with the remarks from dignitaries, just like we have heard from the Gombe State Governor and of course the Chairman APC Governors Forum, who has explained the need for unity and focused leadership to bring about changes that are needed for the socio-economic developments of the region and Nigeria as a whole. Many people are still on queue to deliver their remarks, and this is one of its kind, I think, in Jigawa State. This is an honor to the state because the governor has been said to be having qualities that needed to be extolled, needed to be praised, and that is what the leaders are doing there. From all indication, the awardees will take their seats there in preparation of the awards presentation. That is chairman of the Governor Arewa Consultative Forum there, and he will be delivering his remarks also.
The chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, our host, Your Excellency of the Jigawa State, all other protocols observed. As usual, annually we give lifetime awards and recognitions to those elders who have done a lot for the benefit of not only the northern Nigeria, but the country as a whole. So the committee set up, did a marvelous job, and nominated the following as the lifetime achievers. The first one is late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, GCFR. Then General T.Y. Nduma, GCON. Honorable Justice Zainab Adamu Bulkachua, Elder Antonio Sani, OFR, and Mariam Abubakar Hassan. So can I invite you to come forward to collect it? And can I invite the Governor of Jigawa State and the Chairman of the Northern Forum to come and make the presentation? Now? It's all about okay, too. As Governor, Your Excellencies want you to come and present the award to her.
Okay.
The citation of His Excellency late President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, GCFR. Today we gather in honor and remembrance to celebrate the life and legacy of one of our own, His Excellency late President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, GCFR, a man whose life reflected the noble traditions of our land, humility in leadership, discipline in conduct, and fear of Allah in public trust. Born on 16th August 1951 in Katsina, late Umar Musa was nurtured in a tradition that valued learning, service, and moral uprightness. He received his early education in Katsina and proceeded to Barewa College, Zaria. He later earned a bachelor's degree in education and chemistry from AHMADU BELLO University, Zaria. This solid academic foundation shaped his analytical mind, modest disposition, and lifelong commitment to knowledge, discipline, and public service. A teacher, an administrator, and a statesman, he rose from the classroom to the governorship of Katsina State, 1999 to 2007, where he distinguished himself by championing transparency, physical discipline, and people-centered development. His reforms in education, healthcare, infrastructure earned him respect as one of the most prudent and accountable leaders of his generation. In 2007, he was elected the 13th President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Guided by his philosophy of servant leadership, President Yar'Adua articulated a 7-point agenda that sought to transform Nigeria's economy, strengthen democratic institutions, and address the challenges of energy, infrastructure, and human capital development. His courage in acknowledging electoral shortcomings and initiating reforms to strengthen Nigeria's democracy remains a landmark in the nation's history. President Yar'Adua's administration also made historic strides in peace building. His amnesty program for militants in the Niger Delta reduced violence and opened pathways for dialogue, reconciliation, and development. His leadership style, calm, principled, and deeply human, embodied the values of fairness, inclusivity, and justice. Throughout his presidency, though his presidency was cut short by illness, his legacy endures as a beacon of honesty, modesty, and service to humanity. He exemplified the ideals of Sir AHMADU BELLO, the Sardauna of Sokoto, whose vision of unity, justice, and progress continues to inspire generations. Today, as the Sir AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation confers its Lifetime Achievement Award posthumously on President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, we celebrate not only his accomplishments, but also his unwavering commitment to the Nigerian people. His life reminds us that true leadership is measured not by longevity, but by the depth of impact and integrity of service. May his memory remain a guiding light for Nigeria.
That was the Nigerian First Lady, former Nigerian First Lady, the wife of our late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua receiving the Award of Excellence for his critical development efforts in the northern Nigeria as a whole. She has just received the award. And
Governance Award presented to Umar Musa Yar'Adua, GCFR, President Federal Republic of Nigeria, in recognition of his exemplary leadership and good governance. Awarded this year, 20th January 2026. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Next. Ambassador Ibrahim Maisule.
I'd like to please call Ambassador Ibrahim Maisule for the next award presentation. This award, the next award, is presented to General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, GCON, retired Brigadier General, former Chief of Army Staff, retired Army General, I beg your pardon, sir, former Chief of Army Staff, former Minister of Defense, businessman and philanthropist, former Chairman of the Presidential Policy Advisory Committee, founder of T.Y. Danjuma Foundation, former Chairman Victims Support Fund Committee for terror victims including Chibok schoolgirls, and retired elder statesman. Here to represent him, sir, is Ambassador Ibrahim Maisule to receive the recognition on his behalf.
Lifetime Achievement Award presented to General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, GCON, in recognition of his exemplary leadership and nation building. Awarded this day, 20th January 2026, by the Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation. Thank you.
The next award is being presented to Honorable Justice Zainab Adamu Bukachwa, CFR, OFR, President of the Court of Appeal, retired. She's coming. She's coming. She's coming. Honorable Justice Zainab Adamu Bukachwa, CFR, OFR, PCA, stands as one of the most illustrious jurists, a trailblazer in the judiciary, and a distinguished symbol of integrity, courage, and service to the nation. Born on 6th of March 1950 in Bauchi State to family of Alhaji Abubakar Girado El Nafati and Hajia Aisha to El Nafati, Justice Bukachwa hails from Nafata, local government area of Gombe State. Her life and career epitomize dedication to justice, intellectual excellence, and unwavering commitment to national development. Her educational journey began in Kaduna, went through Queen Elizabeth School in Lorin, progressed through Abdullahi Bayero College, now Bayero University, Kano, before she earned her LLB honors from AHMADU Bello University, Zaria. She was subsequently admitted to the Nigerian Bar in July 1976, having successfully completed her training at the Nigerian Law School, Lagos. Justice Bolkachua commenced her legal career at the Kaduna State Ministry of Justice during her National Youth Service and rose steadily through the ranks as State Counsel, Senior Magistrate, Chief Magistrate. Her judicial brilliance earned her appointment as a High Court Judge of Bauchi State in 1987. Following the creation of Gombe State, she made history in January 1998 as the first Chief Judge of Gombe State, laying a firm judicial foundation marked by professionalism, independence. Later that year, she was elevated to the Court of Appeal as a justice, where her depth of legal reasoning and administrative competence distinguished her across several divisions nationwide. In November 2012, she was appointed acting President of the Court of Appeal and confirmed substantive President of the Court of Appeal, becoming the first woman in Nigeria to hold such a position. I think she deserves a very big round of applause for that. Justice Bolkachua retired honorably in March 2020 upon attaining the mandatory retirement age. Beyond the bench, she is a jurist of global exposure and scholarly depth, having served as a visiting scholar at Yale University, United States of America, and participated in numerous national, international judicial trainings. She's rendered invaluable service as a member of several critical institutions, including the Body of Benches, National Judicial Institute, Federal Judicial Service Commission, and the governing board of the National Judicial Institute, rising to the distinguished status of Life Bencher. A passionate advocate for gender justice, she served as president of the National Association of Women Judges, during which she initiated the Jurisprudence of Equality Program, a landmark contribution to gender-sensitive adjudication in Nigeria. Her exemplary service has been duly recognized with some of Nigeria's highest national honors, including the Officer of the Order of the Federal Republic and the Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic in 2014. In her personal life, she had devoted to her family. Her family are here with her to support her in this venture, and she has taken up, even in retirement, to championing the cause of girls and less privileged women by her foundation, where the Ada Girls Foundation established to promote education for underprivileged girls. A grandmother, a very lovely lady. Please give it up for one of the best women we have in Nigeria.
Lifetime Achievement Award presented to Honorable Justice Zainab AHMADU Bello, CFR, in recognition of her exemplary leadership and nation building, awarded this day, 20th of January 2026, by the Sir AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation. Alhamdulillah. Thank you.
The next awardee for today, we'd like to honor Mr. Anthony Zaki Sani, a man whose life reflects resilience, service, and unwavering commitment to nation building. From Angwan Takwa, Garaku in Kokona local government area of Nasarawa State, Mr. Sani is Mara by tribe. He was educated at SRM Primary School, Angwan Takwa, St. William's Primary School, Kefi, GSS, Katsina Ala, and AHMADU Bello University, where he earned degrees in pharmacy and business administration. Afflicted with polio early in life, He defied the odds with uncommon determination, often drawing inspiration from President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose leadership on a wheelchair proved there are no barriers to a determined spirit. Mr. Sani began his professional career as a pharmacist and rose to the rank of director in the Plateau Health Services Management Board. He later served as special advisor and director general until the events of the 1993 coup. Undeterred, he redirected his energies toward public-spirited engagement. He served as National Publicity Secretary and Secretary General of the Ariwa Consultative Forum. He was spokesman for Northern delegates at the 2014 National Conference and a council member of the AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation. In October 2022, Mr. Anthony Sani was conferred with the national honor of Officer of the Order of the Niger, OON, by President Muhammadu Buhari in recognition of his spirited and consistent efforts at reshaping national mindset toward building a nation Nigerians can truly be proud of. A nationalist and respected public intellectual, Mr. Anthony believes in nation building in a continuous process. He is being honored today with a Lifetime Achievement Award for all his contribution to the nation.
Why not you? I am choosing because we have worked together in the board of AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation. And this is actually lifetime achievement that you have been awarded because you, Mr. Anthony Ngude Zaki Sani OON, in recognition of your exemplary leadership and nation building, awarded today, 20th January 2026. And we seize also the opportunity to condole you on your recent bereavement. You know, his wife died recently. Thank you very much, sir, for coming.
Yes, last but not the least, sir, we have a young lady in the name of Mariam Bukar Hassan. We gather today to honor an extraordinary Nigerian whose voice, vision, and service continue to shape lives across Africa and the world. She doubles as the youngest recipient of the award by AHMADU BELLO Memorial Foundation. She's from Biu in Borno State, was raised where culture, storytelling, and the dignity of northern Nigerian womanhood were valued. Her late mother, a celebrated Hausa, exposed her early to the power of narrative as a tool for preserving memory, shaping identity, and strengthening communities. She went through a lot of good schools, as you will hear. Today she stands among Africa's most compelling performance poets, global storytellers, and advocates of her generation, otherwise known as the Gen Z. Most of us will not understand that. Between 2021 and 2023, she made history as Nigeria's first and youngest national campaign coordinator for Change.org, the world's largest people-powered advocacy platform. In this role, she led national campaigns, strengthened civic engagement, and contributed meaningfully to public discourse during pivotal moments in Nigeria's democratic journey, earning the We Are Open and Inclusive Award for leadership grounded in integrity and inclusion. Her influence extends across the global stage. Hassan has collaborated with UN Peacekeeping, UNFPA, Global Citizen Youth Hub Africa, the Nigeria's Governors Forum, and several United Nations agencies. In fact, she is chosen as the UN Peace Forum. She is chosen as the representative of the United Nations as a young poet. Her leadership has been calm, courageous, and decisive. During the Sudan evacuation, she worked closely with Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs to counter misinformation and support the safe return of stranded Nigerians. At COP28, she was honored with the Sustainable Africa Award, standing alongside eminent African leaders in recognition of her work at the intersection of climate action, public health, youth engagement, and social equality. Her global stature was further affirmed when she was invited by the United Nations Secretary General to perform at the summit of the Future Africa Days during UNGA 79, where her poetry powerfully addressed gender equality and the urgent dismantling of systems that limit the potential of women. She stands here today as a global figure, as a model for girl child in Nigeria, and that is one of the reasons she's been awarded this Merit Award from AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation.
I have apologized to her because I kept calling her Zainab, not knowing that the bigger Zainab is somewhere still. You are seen as one of the best in Nigeria. Distinguished Merit Award, Mariam Bukar Hassan, in recognition of your exemplary leadership and service to humanity, awarded this day, 20th January 2026.
Would like to thank your excellencies for this. On behalf of the awardees, we would like to ask Honorable Justice Zainab Bokachua to give her response on behalf of those who have been awarded these. Your response, ma'am? Okay. Thank you. You want to stand? Huh? You don't want to stand? No.
Oh, I can be seated. It's a bit long. I'm about oh, okay. Okay, I made it. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على نبي الكريم. The Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as represented, my Governor, the Chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, the Host Governor, traditional rulers, my fellow awardees, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to stand on the existing protocol. I have a rather big speech. I hope I'd be excused. Today, at 75, I stand before you with a heart full of appreciation. I accept this honor with humility, knowing that any life-called achievement is really the work of many hands and Allah's rahmah. I thank the Northern Nigerian Governors Forum, the Board of Governors of the AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation for finding me and the other distinguished awardees worthy of this honor. May you continue to keep the AHMADU Bello light burning. I thank the AHMADU Bello Memorial Foundation for keeping his torch burning, which is in education, service, unity, and disciplined leadership. These values raised Arewa, and these values will raise all still. My journey began at home. My late father, Abubakar Gidado El Nafati, insisted I would be educated. He did not negotiate with my future. He prepared me for it. He taught me that learning is a protection and a ladder that a daughter with knowledge strengthen an entire community. Allah ya ji kansa da rahama. Allah ya ji kansa to live remarkable lives because the training was deliberate. Sir AHMADU Bello strong minds, gentle hearts, and steady hands. And so I founded the Ade Girls Education Foundation. We started small and stayed faithful. Today, about 150 girls are on scholarship and mentorship, 4 years and counting. We created safe spaces in schools where girls are nourished to reach their full potential. potential. We worked with families, feel it in everything that Gombe's adolescent girls are not left out. Today's applause. Let it become action. We should keep our girls in schools from primary 1 to prove worthy of your dreams. Allah ya saka al-khair of Nigeria. Thank you. Thank you.
go around the 19 northern states so that every part of the northern region will also partake in sharing these noble ideas of emulating from the legacies of Sir AHMADU Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto, who was the premier, one and the only of the northern.
Up to the president, a son of the soil. Legal luminary, a former secretary of the Jigawa State government, a one-time attorney general and commissioner of justice, a one-time secretary of the State government, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Shettiban Hadija. Please, a round of applause for him. Ataba masa jama'a.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Your Excellency dedicates substantial amounts to address what for me is a very, very serious pointer to what confronts us in the future. His Excellency the Vice President has also asked me in his capacity as Chairman of the National Council on Skills to address the issue of focusing on vocational skills. We had a conversation, pour our resources into formal education at the expense of technical education or skill development. We have gotten to a point globally where some of these skills are now more relevant and more important than formal education. So we absolutely need to focus on that. We need to
From the commitment of the Vice President to work with Foundation in order to move the nations forward. Thank you so much, the Chief of Staff, Office of the Vice President. Your Excellency, permit me at this point in time to invite Chief Ezekiel Gomos, Director General CEO and SDF, to give us a vote of thanks. Thereafter, the closing prayer and the national anthem.
Your Excellency,